Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopidhanava Girivaradari Daya Gopidhanava Girivaradari Jaya Gopidhanava Girivaradari Yasodhanandana Brajananandana Yasodhanandana Brajananandana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna, 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 Hare Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, 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 Hare 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 Rama, Rama Hare Hare. Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Prabhupada. Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada. Shri Prabhupada ki jai, Harinam Sankirtan Yagya ki jai, Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda ki jai, Nitai Gaura Premananda. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, 3rd Canto, Chapter 19, entitled The Killing of the Demon Hiranyaksha, text number 15. Vrigne swasule bahudarina hare. Prachecha vistirna muro vibhuttimat. Pravridarosha shakatora mustena. Nadan pradityantar deyatasura. Vrigne swasure bahudarina hare. Pracheta vistirna muro vibhuttiman. Pravidarosha shakatora mustina. Nadan prarityantara deyatasura. Vrigne swashure bahudarina hare. Prajecha vistirnam uro vibhuttiman. Pravridarosa sakatora mustena. Nadan prarichantara deyatasura.
Vistirnamuro vibhutimat Pravriddharosas kathora mushtina. Nadan praritya antaraririyata suraha.
Svashule bahudarina hare.
Vikne svashule bahudarina hare.
Pratita vistri namuro vibhutiman.
Pratita vistri namuro vibhutiman.
Pravridarosa sakatora mushtina.
Pravridarosa sakatora mushtina.
Nadan prahityantara diyatasura.
Nadan prahityantara diyatasura. Vikne svashule bahudarina hare. Pratyeta vishtir namuro vibhutiman. Pravridarosha sakatora mushtina. Nadan prahityantara diyatasura.
Ladies, Vrikne, when cut, Swashule, his trident, Bahuda, to many pieces, Arina, by the Sudarshan Chakra, Hare, of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Pratyetya, after advancing toward, Vistirnam, broad, Uraha, chest, Vibhutimat, the abode of the goddess of fortune, Pravrida, having been increased, Rusaha, anger, Saha, Hiranyaksha, Katura, heart, Mustina, with his fists, Nadan, roaring, Praricha, after striking, Antaradhyata, disappeared, Asuraha, the demon. Translation. The demon was enraged when his trident was cut to pieces by the discus of the personality of Godhead. He therefore advanced toward the Lord, and roaring aloud, struck his hard fist against the Lord's broad chest, which bore the mark of Shivatsa. Then he went out of sight. Purport. Shivatsa is a curl of white hair on the chest of the Lord, which is a special sign of his being the Supreme Personality of Godhead. In Vaikuntha Loka, or in Goloka Vrindavan, the inhabitants are exactly of the same form as the Personality of Godhead, but by this Shivatsa mark on the chest of the Lord, he is distinguished from all others. Om Ajnana Timirandasya Gnanana Salakaya Chakshurun Militam Yena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhistam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Tadati Swapadantikam Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Sivasadi Gaura Bhaktavinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So even when the Supreme Personality of Godhead appears in the form of a boar, he still wears the distinct marks of the Srivatsa, the little tuft of white hair on the chest of the Lord, to make very sure that he is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Just like in the descriptions about the pastimes of Lord Nrsingadev and appearing from the pillar in front of Hiranyakasipu, Hiranyakasipu was not recognizing that form as the Supreme Lord. And he's thinking, what is this form? Some sort of extraordinary creature. In the same way, Hiranyaksha was also saying when he saw Lord Varahadev for the first time, he also said, an amphibious beast, right? That means a beast in the water. So in this way, he was also not able to understand the glories of the Lord. Hiranyaksha and Hiranyakasipu were extraordinary demons. At the time of their appearance, it rained bones, blood and pus from the sky. So it was bad weather, and then we saw that these demons were very, very powerful. They were basically competitors to the demigods. We ordinary human beings are insignificant in comparison to the demigods. What are our powers? Nothing great, but these two demons, Hiranyakasipu and Hiranyaksha, they had the power that could match the power of the demigods. And so they were in serious competition with the demigods. And therefore the demigods were greatly afraid of the situation. So the demigods, they prayed for a solution. And ultimately, to satisfy them, the Supreme Personality of Godhead appeared. Of course, if the Supreme Personality of Godhead desires, he can just dissolve a demon, right? I mean, he can just make him disappear, never to be seen again. That would not be very difficult for the Supreme Lord. In the pastimes where Lord Chaitanya is discussing with Vasudev Datta, Vasudev Datta, he is an extraordinary devotee, because he is so filled with compassion that he's ready to take all the sinful reactions of all the living beings in the entire universe upon him. That includes also the demons. And he is ready to take these sinful reactions and in this way, just deliver all living beings of the material realm. So then Lord Chaitanya responds and he says, my dear Vasudeva, he said, there are many, many universes, just like there are many mustard seeds in a bag. And if one of these universes would cease to exist, right, because all the living beings would have gone back to Godhead and there was no reason for it to continue to exist, then no one would even notice it. Right? So insignificant is one universe. So if one universe is insignificant, then what to speak of one demon within that universe? If the Lord can just dissolve a whole universe, what is it to dissolve a demon, a powerful demon? But he does not do so, because, as Srila Prabhupada had said in his poem, which he offered to his spiritual master on the occasion of his Vyasa Puja, he said, Absolute is sentient, thou hast proved. Impersonal calamity, thou hast moved. Right? In other words, this impersonalism, which brings only grief to the living beings, that has been removed by the Lord showing that he is sentient, that he has feelings and that he has a heart, and that he is reciprocating with the feelings of his devotees. And in this way starts a relationship with his devotees. And so the Supreme Lord was reciprocating, was entering into a relationship with the demigods and responding to their dedication and devotion. So this is the nature of the Supreme Lord, who is always personal. He is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The Bhagavad Gita, in the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna states, Natvevaham jatunasam natam neme janadipa nacheva vayam. What is the... Yeah, it's slipping from my mind this morning. But sarve vayam ataparam, something like that. So the fact is established that never was there a time when nor you, nor all these kings, nor me existed, and in the future will also continue to exist like that, like individuals. And so the individuality of the Supreme Personality of Godhead is very essential. How could we say that the Supreme Lord has no personality when everybody else has? And when his creation has? Are we minimizing the Lord by saying he's smaller than his creation? No, the creation is rather based on the qualities of the Supreme Lord. And so in this way, he's creating, the creation takes place in two ways, right? There is the sarga and the visarga, the primary creation and the secondary creation. The primary creation is when all the universes are manifesting from the pores of the body of Mahavishnu, and then the next steps, Mahavishnu expands himself as Garbhodakshay. Vishnu enters into the universe, fills up with water, and lies there on an ocean. Then from his navel sprouts a lotus flower, and on that lotus flower, Lord Brahma appears, who becomes the secondary creator. He basically takes the ingredients that he finds. He doesn't create his own ingredients. The Supreme Lord creates his own ingredients. But anybody else, when we create something, we take the ingredients that come from the Supreme Lord. And equally so, Lord Brahma. So, the Supreme Personality is then creating this material world. And this material world is described to be pratibimba. And pratibimba means it is a reflection of the original spiritual world. So the material world is a reflection of the original spiritual world. And why is it so? It is so because Krishna understands the nature of the soul. And he understands that the nature of the soul is to relate to the spiritual world. And that only in that environment of the spiritual world, the living being can experience fulfillment. Then, like we have an intimate connection with our environment. We see that psychologists like Carl Jung was a very brilliant person, and Carl Jung recognized that within people there are archetypes, or that within people there is the nature reflects within the ocean, the night, the day, the sun. These are not just independent objects, but rather every living being has an intricate relationship with them, and they affect the consciousness. The sun is bringing light to us, is uplifting our consciousness. The sun is our shelter. We see how early in the morning the birds are singing and are heralding the arrival of the sun every day. Right? It is a major celebration. It's a festival. If you really look at it, whatever's going on in these trees, it's a festival. They are celebrating. Oh, the sun has come, and that is very deep. This, of course. So we understand that these features are dependent on the spiritual world, right? And that in the spiritual world, the spiritual energy of the Lord that manifests as the spiritual world is the Sandhini Shakti. It is said that Lord Baladev, or the existence potency, Lord Baladev is the origin of that existence potency, and therefore Lord Baladev is the origin of that spiritual world, which is intricately related with every living being. And so when the living being turns away from Krishna and desires to be independent, then Krishna creates a shadow world of the spiritual world. It is not entirely the spiritual world, but it corresponds with the spiritual world, just as the shadow corresponds with the original body. It's like, if someone has, you can see by the shadow, the nose, right? You can see the features of a person, and we can recognize someone by the shadow. If we only see the shadow, we say, yes, that's him. Yes, so in this way, the material world is also intimately related to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. It is by no means impersonal energy. Due to impersonal energy, due to impersonalism, we have an impersonal understanding of the universe. And maybe when we get God conscious, at best, we see that the Supreme Lord is behind it all. He's the source of it all. But no, that is incorrect. He's not just the source of it all, but rather He is all that. He is all that. Is his energy. That is His energy. So He is manifesting that divine energy. Mama Maya. This divine energy of mine. Mama Maya. So in this way, we appreciate how Krishna is present within the creation. And how we can see Krishna and meet Krishna in the creation. In the 11th canto, there is an Avaduta Brahmana. And this Avaduta Brahmana is seeing the Supreme Lord reflected in the material energy in many, many ways. He sees the web of the spider. And the web of the spider is very interesting because sometimes we are here in the kirtan and suddenly there is something in front of our face. A spider. It's hanging on like a rope. This rope is coming from its body, right? So, we see that spider and like no one likes a spider web in his face. It's not so pleasant, right? So the tendency is to sort of like, okay, spider, go away. And the spider does go away. You see next moment, the spider is climbing up in the rope. Now, imagine we would have to do that. If I would hang from the from from the roof, because, like the ceiling is a little low, but from some height, like that, on a rope, and I climb up the rope, I would have to at the same time roll the rope on my arm, and I would have a huge bundle of rope on my back by the time I'd get to the top. But not that spider. Oh no, you don't see spiders climbing up their cord with a bundle of rope on their back. No. The spiders are simply, that rope disappears into their body. So that is something, I mean, it's a special feature of the spider. And then the spider makes a whole web and can also take that whole web back into its body. That's something, if you think about it. Yeah. And the Supreme Personality of Godhead can do the same, but on a larger scale. All these universes are manifesting from his body, and then they also disappear again into his body. And it didn't become fat, if we put a lot of things in the body, then our body also grows accordingly, right? But not the Supreme Lord. He remained the same. So it's really something. Anyway, so this young Avaduta Brahmana, when he saw the spider making its web, and how the spider can also take its web back into its body, and then he was immediately remembered the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And in this way he recognized the Supreme Lord in the material energy, and saw how it was a reflection. That is very nice, very nice. So that intimate connection and that whole misconception that we are dealing here with some chunks of dead matter, of stone, floating around in a universe, and everything is going around in orbits. And there's a huge machine, and any moment a meteorite can fall on our head, and what are we going to do? It's scary if you live in a machine. Yeah? It's scary. Do you realize that there are craters on Jupiter that are bigger than planet Earth? Do you realize what that means? The whole universe, the whole planet Earth could just be smashed to powder by some meteorite. How do we know that it will not happen? How do we protect ourselves? Star Wars, maybe. We need laser beams, something to save us, right? Oh yes, yes, we somehow or other. Nietzsche said it. Man is living in a hostile universe. This universe is not our friend, it is hostile. And now the answer to it is power. So you see these kind of movies like Star Wars, where they dress people in these sort of metal robot suits. And now recently I saw that actually they made such a suit. There's a newspaper article, and that it's for sale. Guess where? Online. Guess where? Oh yes, you can Google it today, and you can get your suit, and then you can jump, you know what I mean, in your metal robot suit. Anyway, they're talking about stuff like this. Of course, it may still be in the primitive stages, but that's what they would like. To increase the power, to become greater. And where we lack muscle, we put machine. And in this way, we'll be able to increase our power manyfold. So this impersonalism, and to think that we are living in a mechanical universe and that everything depends on our power, that is the disease of the materialist. So we can see how impersonalism has thoroughly affected us. Then, in contrast to that, we gradually begin to see a personal universe, right? As soon as you come to India, oh India, 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 it doesn't matter where you are in India, there always is a holy place. Right? I was somewhere in Maharashtra, and they said, oh, just nearby here is the place where Jatayu, after he fought with Ravana in the sky and Ravana cut his wings, where he fell to earth. And there is a Jatayu temple there. Do you want to go? Yeah, why not? Let's go to the Jatayu temple. And it was really nice. And then they said, yeah, not far from here is the Kapila Ashram. I said, Kapila Ashram? They said, yes, where Kapila Dev spoke the Sankhya philosophy to his mother Devahuti. That's just around the corner, I mean, it's sort of, India is far out like that, right? I mean, okay, here we have Dreisessel, and we have something, we have a mountain, and you can go over that mountain to Czech, or from Czech you can come here. I heard some people got lost and did that, whatever may have happened. But the point is this, there are landmarks here, but in India all these landmarks are spiritual. Then you have the Ganga, and it just comes from outside this universe. Vamanadev cracked the universe, the shell of the universe, and a drop of the causal ocean comes in, washed his lotus foot where there was kumkum, and therefore got a reddish color, and then it comes falling down, and there's a long story, and eventually it's here on planet Earth. And and we stand in front of the holy river Ganga in Mayapur, and we realize this river is coming from the spiritual world. So this is sometimes referred to as sacred geography, that India has a sacred geography, that we are seeing a whole spiritual dimension. Rivers are not just ordinary rivers, but rivers are spiritual, have a spiritual origin, that, there are three worlds, there are demigods above there, and these demigods are controlling everything, and here is, and the sun is actually a chariot, and the sun god is riding on his chariot, and it's a huge chariot, and there are many sages also seated on that chariot, and there are huge recitals going on of the Vedas in this solar chariot, and all these things, right? And this wheel is just going around in a certain axis, and that lights up the whole universe, and it reeks of mythology, but to the modern mind, that went to the slaughterhouse of education, and in the slaughterhouse of modern education, our faith has been slaughtered. Our faith has been systematically undermined and destroyed until we can no longer believe there is a demigod. There are any demigods in control of anything. The Western world has systematically killed all the demigods. Christianity has come and eventually conquered the West and got rid of the demigods. Got rid of Dona, got rid of Thor, got rid of all these personalities. Freya, goodbye to you, right? All these gods and goddesses that we used to have. Ha ha, mythology, fairy tales, right? This is not factual, so they tell you and educate you systematically. Because systematically, a whole philosophy has been created that there are no demigods. And therefore, this, in the name of the focus on one God, right? In the name, actually there's an interesting book, what is that called again? It was made by Stephen Rosen, and it's translated in different languages. It's about India and all the different things, and it's the treasure, huh? Hidden Glory of India, thank you. Hidden Glory of India. You know, and in the Hidden Glory of India, you see all the temples, you see everything. And you know what is there in the Hidden Glory of India? The golden calf. The golden calf. It's there, you know, I forgot the page number, but it's there. The golden calf. When I saw that, I go like, wow, look at that. We've got the golden calf here, right? Shh. Wait till I get us on that. Yes, we worship the golden calf, not as the supreme personality of Godhead, but as a deity of the dearmost cows, right, which are very dear to the Supreme Lord. And, you know, this golden calf, right, representing the Surabhi cows, representing the wish-fulfilling desire cows of the spiritual world, and that are manifesting in the cows of the material world, that are also, as reflections of these wish-fulfilling desire cows, fulfilling our desires in so many ways, by giving us, by whatever comes of the cow, being beneficial. Milk is good for all the, and those who cannot digest milk, for them there's the cow urine. Very nice. I went to South India to Tirupati temple, and the president, Revati Raman, who is very nice, he gave me a personal tour of the temple, and he took me to the Goshala, and we are there. One cow was passing urine. He put his hand under the cow and drank it. And he said, my grandmother told me, every time the cow passes urine, you must drink it. I said, my grandmother didn't tell me that. It was really too much, you know, for my mind. Like looking at like, whoa, you know, I mean, is this our culture? That's what I was thinking. Is this what we're going to do now, you know? Drink the urine of the cow. It would not be so easy for one who's not accustomed to this. Right? Some devotees are hardcore, right? Every morning. It was for me, but I did get it prescribed as a medicine at times, and I did give it a go. It's quite salty. Anyway, but it's beneficial. So isn't it wonderful that it is said that all the demigods reside in the body of the cow? 33 crores of demigods reside in the cow. And there's all kinds of demigods, right? Major demigods, smaller demigods, small deities. And just see, you know, I mean, thinking about that, even the elves are back, right? You know, like now small devatas, small divine beings that are there. And so a personal world with personalities. Like I tell you, maybe it's a sign that I'm old, but one thing I hate is when you have to do things on the internet, right? You have to apply for a visa on the internet or something like that. Oh my God. You go into the form and there's nothing you can do, or you have to check your bag in, on the airport in a machine. In München airport, they got all these machines. You put your bag and it's like half a kilo over, right? I mean, come on. And the machine says no. No, it sends it back, 400 grams over. Sorry, this bag is not going, right? I mean, it's too much. When there's a person behind the counter, you give a smile. I mean, our Kalindi is very expert at this. She once went on an economy ticket with 80 kilos, right? And then that was check-in luggage. And then on her hand luggage, she had like a harmonium and lots of things. So in the end, she got everything on except the harmonium, right? All with a smile and so like, it has to go. What can I do? But where there are persons, something can be done. Something can be done. Where there's a devata, you can ask, oh please, do something. We can pray, we can approach. And where there's the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is the origin of everything, there is shelter. And therefore the Lord appears like Varaha to show these demigods, yes, I am a person. Yes, I am aware of your needs. Yes, I know about your anxieties. You don't worry about a thing. I am here. And yes, I am playful as well. And, and therefore I appeared as a boar today. And why not? Why not? I appear in all the species. Why not? Right? Why not? Also to be merciful to all the species. One of my favorite places in Vrindavan is Prem Sarovar. It's such a beautiful place. Of course, the devotees have made there these beautiful ghats, right? Very, very nice, with little ksatris, these little roofs and columns. And it's everyone likes to go there and take pictures. It's a very famous thing. But I also like Prem Sarovar because of the story and how Radha and Krishna were there and how they were meeting and how a bumblebee came, a big one of those buzzing bumblebees. And start to go around the heads of Radha and Krishna. So Radharani, with her veil, is sort of trying to chase this bumblebee away. Then Madhumangal stood there. And Madhumangal took action, right? And he waved a stick in such a way that the bumblebee was deciding to retreat, right? And he came back and said, I got rid of that killer bee. And he used the Sanskrit word, I got rid of that Madhusudan. Now, Madhusudan is also a name of Krishna, the killer of the Madhu demon. And as a result, when Radharani heard, I got rid of Madhusudan, I got rid of Krishna, immediately she spontaneously started crying so much that she couldn't see anything anymore. And therefore she couldn't see Krishna. And just a river of tears was flowing from her eyes. And when Krishna saw that she was crying like that, he also started crying. And that water of the two eyes mixed and became Prem Sarovar. Now, that's a nice part of the story. Another part which I particularly like is the part of the bumblebee, and that the bumblebee was buzzing around the heads of Radha and Krishna, because that bumblebee was a devotee and was doing parikrama and was getting a close-up darshan of the divine couple. When Madhumangal chased them away, then that bumblebee, who was the king of the bees, returned and went to meet all the bees and told all the bees what he saw. And all the bees were buzzing in ecstasy, because after all, they're all devotees of Krishna, because they see that Krishna is just like them. He has a blackish body and a yellow dhoti. And and he's into music, right? So in this way, they see Krishna as the big god. And that is so nice. How Krishna is not only the Supreme Lord of the human beings, and all the animals are irrelevant, right? I mean, they're sort of decoration. You know, in Aristotle's model, the animals are just decoration. They don't have a real soul, they just have a biological soul. And this was echoed by Thomas Aquinas, who liked Aristotle a lot in the 11th century. It was, again, came back in the 16th century with Descartes, who also said animals have no soul. And finally we see Cardinal Danelu, who says to Srila Prabhupada, but what about the flesh of the cows? We can give it to the children, to the starving children. But what about the children? We can give them the flesh of the cow to save the children. Huh? Yes. So we can see how just Aristotle, who thought that the animals were just decoration and that they didn't have a real soul, was another impersonalist. Was another person minimizing the personalities that are all pervading throughout the universe. And then to top it all, after we have denied the real personality of the animals, there are some who are going to deny the personality of the Supreme Lord. They are demons. They have just found a new way, right? A new way to get rid of God. Always looking for novel ways to get rid of him. Actually, all this whole form of God you are worshipping is illusion. And the spiritual world is illusion as well. And therefore, devotional service is illusion as well. You're wasting your time, young man. Enjoy now, while you can. I tell you, you're giving the best years of your life to a dream. Says the sour old man, who has missed ecstasy in his life, who has actually missed out. Yes, because I'm not happy, nobody can be happy. And in this way, this is envy. Yes. And so, the envious conditioned soul is trying to cut down the Supreme Lord so that he looks greater. In the land of the blind, one eye is king. Yes. When there is no God, then human beings look pretty good. There's no God, there's no demigods, and it's like, and now, look at this. Look at this. Man, human beings are the crown of creation. And that's not all. That is not all. There is still more. Actually, in the past, right, human beings did amazing things. Do you know that even in the year 1600, in the 16th century, they managed to make a submarine out of wood that actually went underwater. Do you know that? I mean, impressive. Impressive. I mean, if you look at Galileo, a brilliant mind, absolutely. I mean, the conclusions he came up with were impressive, considering the information that he had. Yes. And, they did quite well. Of course, now we know more, right? Now we know more. And of course, now, we look back at these theories as a bit primitive, right? Because now we have evolved. And the most amazing thing, that here is mankind, the crown of all creatures, and just now, at this point in time, it is amazing to take birth at this point in time, because never before did we know as much as we know today. This is amazing. At the push of a button, we could just turn the whole planet into powder if we desired so. See the power of mankind. Yes. In this way, the demon has an inflated concept of the self, or as Carl Jung calls it, a swollen ego, right? And in the case of the impersonalist, your ego is swollen when you are trying to act that you pretend that you are greater than you are. And the Mayavadi is taking it to the ultimate, because he is thinking that he is God. What's a bigger false ego than that? Therefore, that's the biggest false ego of all. Congratulations. Yes. So it is very interesting to see how the impersonalists are actually demoniac and are just like Hiranyaksha, systematically trying to kill God. This time not with a mace, but this time with an intellectual exercise. Very good. And of course, we know, and then you have the impersonalist philosophy of Sankaracharya, who says, Brahma Satya Jagat Mithya, who says the universe is false, but Brahman is real. And then we can take it a step further and say, not only is the universe false, but even Brahman is not real. And then we come to nihilism, and then we have that in Buddhism, or we have it in Nietzsche, and such Western philosophers who want to reduce everything to zero. And I always say, so when that's your philosophy, what do you get? What do you get? Zero. Right? Translates as nothing. Right? So that's the result of this. You get nothing. And so our Friedrich got nothing in the end. He wasn't very Friedrich. He wasn't very peaceful in the middle of all of that. That is the result. No peace of mind. What is this again? Sakala Ashanta. How does it start? Krishna Bhakta Niskama Ataeva Shanta Bhukti Mukti Siddhikama Sakala Ashanta. Thank you. I'm a little brain fog this morning. Yes. So it is said, the impersonalists, they will never have peace. They will never have peace. Because peace can only be found in that relationship with the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Unfortunately, Hiranyaksha didn't know that. But maybe we've seen plays performed by devotees where devotees preach to Dracula, and so yes, that is the wonderful thing. A devotee can change the demons, because even the demons are constitutionally devotees. Because everyone is actually a devotee. I was once in New York, and I went to a health food store, and when I was there, I bought something, and there was this boy who worked there who really looked at me. He was like intensely looking at me. And then about 2 weeks later, he came for the Sunday feast, right? So I thought, okay, I'll speak to him. And I was in this mood that everyone is a devotee. And then he spoke to me, and it turned out he had some sort of speech problem. Lisping a lot. You call that in English lisping. Right? A lot of lisping. So I was, the mind is such that when someone's lisping, while we have the conversation, you sort of start looking at, like, what is it, right? So it's trying to look at his teeth. Is there a problem with his teeth, or what is it, right? That actually causes this lisping. And then I saw that he had a big ring in his tongue. Then I wasn't so sure if he was a devotee. Ah, gosh. Terrible, ghastly things. But even those who put rings through their flesh, although they are influenced by obviously demoniac things, right? Even they can also become devotees. And we can liberate them from that ring in their tongue. And instead of a ring through the tongue, they can take the holy name on the tongue and chant that name of the Lord and become devotees of the Lord. This movement can turn crows into swans. Srila Prabhupada said, and all the devotees said, Jai. And with that, I will end. Thank you very much. Any questions, any comments? Yes, oh big man.
We have a question from YouTube in German, from Franz. Ich stelle sie auf Deutsch. Er fragt, ist es okay, sein Haustier einschläfern zu lassen, wenn es alt und schwer krank ist, oder sollte es von selbst den Körper aufgeben?
Yeah, he's speaking about leaving the body, and when we are old and ill, if we can do something to leave the body, or if we just have to wait for the natural end. Dear Franz, in principle, it's if you can wait for the end, it is good. All that suffering that we go through in old age means that we burn up so much karma, and then we are liberated from that karma. And so then when we leave the body, then we are more ready to go before the Supreme Lord. So in that sense, if we can tolerate it, just tolerate it. No need at the first sign of old age to sort of try and do something about it. However, it is said that if one is terminally ill and greatly suffering, then it is allowed. Terminally ill means you have your death notice, right? You have X more months to live. There's nothing we can do for you. But doctor, there must be something you can do. Sorry, there is nothing you can do. That's what the doctor told my mother. And she found it hard to believe, but it was a fact. And he told her, you have 2 more months. And that was it. He was right. She had exactly 2 months. And that was it. And it went really fast in these 2 months. So, in such a case, it would be allowed to fast from food and drink. And in that way give the body. Not euthanasia and drink some nice little cocktail that puts you to sleep. Right? They make these little drinks for you, which put you in 30 seconds. You close the eyes and say, "Oh, he went so peacefully. He just went to sleep." I mean, he zonked out from the poison and left his body in a heavily intoxicated state. And maybe now, therefore, floating around in a subtle form and, moving the bed sheets around at night. That may not be so advantageous. Yes. So, dear Franz, if we can tolerate, just tolerate. But if it is absolutely intolerable, yes, and one is terminally ill, then it is allowed to fast from food and drink. And then usually it doesn't last very long. Yes. So the what? Animals. Oh, I didn't hear that, animals. That part I missed. Okay, sorry. Can we help an animal to leave its body? Hey. What? Yeah, a pet, obviously. It's your poor dog is suffering so much, and kill it and give it a little shot. No. No. We can't do anything like that. If the dog decides on its own that it wants to fast, then it's okay. Then the dog can fast. But you cannot say, "Okay, I let my dog fast. I will not give it any water and food, and it will die a natural death." No, that you cannot do. That you cannot do. No, in that case, we have to let it live a natural death. Yes, and go through that suffering, because we should not forget, suffering is a purification for the dog and for us. So, in this modern world, we try to get rid of all suffering as much as possible. Oh, got a headache. Oh, quick, a pill. Quick. Oh, I got a sniffle. Oh, I got a pill for you. Oh, yes, no problem. Oh my God. She has been unconscious for 1 day. Maybe we should, relieve her from her suffering and give her a little injection. Sleep, rest well, rest softly. Yeah. So much confusion, oh France. Can we kick a child in the world when this child doesn't have a chance? The family is totally terrible, and if I let this child take birth, this child will suffer so much. Better go for a little surgical intervention, right? Yes. A little surgical intervention. There's anyway no consciousness yet. So, yes. And we saved the child so much suffering. Oh, you can read a crystal ball. You know the future. Hari Sori was saying that actually they were talking about him being aborted, right, at the time. But somehow or other, they didn't do it. And then he met Prabhupada and became his personal servant and had the most auspicious life he ever had. Right? And who knows the future? So those who think, I'll save this poor soul all this suffering by aborting the child, do you know the future? Do you know where this child will wind up? Are you God? These questions, deciding matters of life and death, are not our decision. This is the decision of God. Yeah. Next question. Bitte sehr.
Yes, this Sterbehilfe for the animals. My dog, when he was very old, he got a very strong tumor at the back of the tail, and we got a. Wie heißt die Einschläferungsspritze? The injection. We gotta give him the injection because the tumor was there were already maggots coming out, and I did the phone call, and so this would have. I don't know if this would have been a natural death, but I consider it a kind of a mercy that's given
this
to the
so-called
dog.
mercy, the mercy killing. But it's not our right to do that. So we should not do that. We should just let nature take its course and see that there's the Supreme Lord who has a reason, and that this living being is suffering, but that this suffering is also burning up so much karma, and that therefore the dog will get a better destination in the next life. So we should not see short term, only now I relieve the suffering of this dog. No, we should see that the karma will come back and the dog will still suffer. That living entity will still suffer. So we're too much trying to interfere with the karma because we don't see that there's a divine plan. And we look at everything like the here and now. And we don't see that the Lord is behind it and has a bigger plan that we don't see. So this so-called mercy killing is not acceptable. It's not mercy at all. It's sinful. We are interfering with the plan of the Supreme Lord to relieve this living being of karma. Anyway, that's the philosophy. I understand it's a tough choice. That I also understand.
Because my dog had a very strong character. He had his own mind, and he was kind of an honorable death than rotting alive. The maggots came out. It's very
what to
difficult.
do? There is no honorable death. That's an illusion. You'll find out. You'll find out. When we're lying there, right? And then we're suffering. I also had a tumor near my tail. Right? Yeah. No, I did, I actually had a tumor near my tail, right there. And I seen pictures of it because the surgeon showed me pictures of it. It was ugly. It's ugly. God, I still have them. It's an ugly thing, these tumors. Horrible. But what to do? It's like, they could have operated and taken it away if they wanted to. That is allowed. So, they could have done something to relieve that suffering, but they cannot give him that little injection which makes the dog go to sleep and put him down. No, not that. So maybe there are other merciful solutions, but no killing. That's what they did to me. They cut it out, but they didn't give me an injection. This dog, they saved it by surgery. I'm also an old dog. Well, anyway, think about it. Yes, sir. He's got the mic.
I got
You
a
have to
mic.
wait. Okay. But he was not recognized by me first. Excuse me. I am the one who decides who's first. Yes. Krave, the cows. Oh God, we're going again in this mercy killing. Oh no. It's going to be... You understand?
If there are cows on the farm, so the cows on the farm, we cannot kill them.
Yeah, can you turn the mic a little like that when you speak in the mic? Yeah, like that.
So we cannot kill the cows on the farm.
And then?
but there is the law of the country
Yeah.
that like the vet, he should kill the cow. Actually,
Yeah.
it's actually against the law of the
Yeah.
country to don't do that.
It's
So
the
some-
EU. All of Europe has these kind of laws.
But our devotee on our farm, so there is this vet who is accepting this. So
Yes. Yes, these things are going on in many places. I heard similar things from Sweden, and yes, we try to get around such laws, obviously, and these are demoniac laws. But that's the world we're living in. Today, actually, I was looking at some pictures of cows on the internet. For somebody was asking me something like that, and but it's there's most of the times they show a picture of the cow, they make fun of the cow. They make a cow look ridiculous. Right? That's it, you know. They have some funny cow like this, cow with sunglasses. Yeah, it's all funny pictures of cows, right? I mean, as like a cow is something comical, right? Something you like, you know, and yeah, it's this cow-killing society. Make fun of the cow, make laws to kill the cow, because we want to kill the cow, because we want to eat the cow. Bhakti Charu Maharaj said once, America, he said, is not the promised land. He said, because it's not the land of milk and honey, it's the land of beef and beer. Any other question? Yes, I was over there. Atmarama Samuniyo Nirgrantiya Purukrame.
Hare Krishna Maharaj, thank you very much. Very nice class. You mentioned the verse about the non-devotees and devotees being ashanta and stuff like this. So usually we understand that, or we desire that the devotional process will be giving that peacefulness, that shanta. Giving example of Bhagavad Gita, when Krishna spoke the knowledge to Arjuna, then while speaking the situation was quite peaceful, but after that I think all the hell broke loose. And can you connect those things? That there's a
it is peace, you know. It's not that once we take up bhakti, that everything becomes peaceful and that there will be only daffodils, you know, flying around in the butterflies and the daffodils, and that it's some sort of Disney World kind of thing. It's not that once you become a devotee, the world turns into Disney World. It's rather that externally, the modes of material nature carry on, and sukh and dukh will go on, happiness and distress will go on, but the peace is internal. One is no longer identifying with this ever-changing happiness and distress of material existence. Internally, one has a deep happiness. I always liked saints, you know, in different traditions. And I saw in India the santas, in the West the saint, you know, the saints. And the one quality that saints have is that they have a happiness which doesn't depend on external things. That's a devotee. He has happiness that doesn't depend on anything external. Just on his relationship with Krishna, but not on anything of this material world. Singing in the rain. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Krishna. In fact, you know, I was in South Africa, and there was this Rath Yatra, and it was raining. It was so bad. So I was supposed to give a speech before the Rath Yatra, and I think, what do you say now? You know, like, I mean, all the devotees under umbrellas in plastic suits, and everyone's looking at like, oh. And so at the beginning of the lecture, I got this idea to encourage everyone that, like, today, right, the rain of mercy is greater than the rain of water, right? And we went for it. And then, you know, we got into the kirtan, and we had this huge kirtan. And I tell you, fish were swimming past, right? But we were like just, you know, like in ecstasy, actually, because it was raining so much, and we just went through it, you know. And then we became crazy, and we started like just, you know, splash each other and dance, and it was like an ecstatic Rath Yatra. A really extra ecstatic Rath Yatra. Singing in the rain. So internally, we remain oblivious to this sukh and dukh when we become advanced. Okay, yes, Gaur Mohan. Okay.
Hare Krishna. So here's a question online. How can we overcome this deep-rooted impersonalism that we still look at the scriptures like mythology?
Srila Prabhupada told us that's why deity worship is very important. Because there we learn to again become a personal servant, right? And that we serve, there's a particular need, you know. In the winter, the deity wears different clothes than in the summer, and so on and so on. You know, Krishna is a young boy. We cook for him as a young boy. We don't give him health food, you know. We give him kachoris, we give him jalebis, we give him sweets, and we give him all kinds of things, because, you know, we're not giving Krishna one carrot and, you know, and sort of like the deity is looking down at his plate. No, it must be, Prabhupada said, it must be like, Krishna's a young boy, we should cook very opulently for Krishna. So, in this way, by serving the deity, we again reawaken that personal tendency. Okay, I will end here. Thank you very much. Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai.
What's the difference between the quoted Pratibimba philosophy and Satkaryavad?